Welcome to 12-Minute Talks, where important information is shared in a short time period. Learn from other business owners, entrepreneurs, and experts about what they do to help you find solutions to everyday topics in 12 minutes or less. Welcome to another episode of the 12-Minute Talks podcast. I'm excited to have with us today Phil Mackey. He's the owner of Top Sale Digital, where he helps other business owners with SEO, pay-per-click, digital marketing, but with a focus on key performing indicators. Phil, thank you so much for being on today.
Thank you so much for inviting me, Lorena. I'm super excited to chat with you.
Awesome. So I'm glad we met because you had interviewed me for like an article that you had on one of your websites, and we talked a little bit there about Focus Mate. It was about how to work from home. So I thought that was a good advice to give people. So Phil, before we get into exactly what you do in more detail, why don't you tell our audience here your journey and how you got started in this industry?
Yeah, so like a lot of other freelancers, my story is a windy path, right? I feel like a lot of us didn't necessarily think we'd be in the industry that we're in, but um, you know, market factors and things move us there. So to start off, I was a liberal arts student in college. I couldn't decide on anything. I love research, I love learning, and I like staying curious. So that definitely serves me in this capacity today. But leaving school in 2010, obviously we had the recession, and I took a lot of different roles that maybe didn't align up with my interests at the time, but it was good experience for me. So I got some sales
It paid the
experience.
bills.
Absolutely. But on
Yeah.
top of that, some leadership roles, some sales experience, things that we all need as freelancers and entrepreneurs, very universal skills. And finally, I was working at a business owned by my family, and I started working with websites. I called a friend who was a fellow digital marketer, and I said, I don't know anything about a website. Can you help me? And
Mm-hmm.
that started my journey into digital. And I like
Okay.
to think that digital found me rather than I found digital, because when I started working in that capacity, it started to click, and I've been at it
Yeah.
ever since.
Nice. So it's good, that you tried a whole bunch of different things until finding something that clicked, and that happens often. I personally, I think I'm the complete opposite. I studied business and I do insurance. I've been doing that forever. So, but I still like doing creative things. Um, but it's good. It seems like you found something that's a natural fit, once you got into it, which is good, to do something you enjoy as well. Um, and so, Phil, tell me what's something that you help. Is it you work with business owners or with people in general?
Yeah, so I work with small to medium business owners typically.
Okay.
I've found with large corporations, they typically have somebody like me in-house. So I
Right.
found that sweet spot is small business owners and maybe mid-size people who are companies that have identified these needs.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And is there a particular industry that you work with or just in general?
I've been working with business SaaS clients.
Okay.
Yeah, B2B is really good. I think they understand the value of what I'm trying to sell. They understand the value of building a channel. And then
Mm-hmm.
also going back to the KPIs, they understand about metrics and ROI and actually
Yeah.
how our activities are paying the bills.
So let's stop there for a minute, and because I think it's important for those listening that might not know a KPI, that stands for key performing indicators, right? Can you give me an example of what that might look like?
Yeah, with my business SaaS clients, for example, they're typically looking for signups for people to use their product. Sometimes it's a free trial, sometimes it's a paid subscription.
Mm-hmm.
So they want a user base. And then from a content marketing perspective, we want people to engage with the site and really subscribe. So
Right.
those would be two examples of great KPIs that we would want to share in reporting when we're working with a business SaaS client, for example.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so I think a KPI is very different than vanity metrics, like they call it, which is like all the likes. And me, like as a business owner, I look at that and I'm like, "Was great, you have 1,000 likes," but for me, it's like how many customers or conversations did you actually have, that might lead to something down the line.
Love that you mentioned social there though, because
Yeah.
yeah, social, we can really demonstrate that we have, people that are interested, but that doesn't necessarily pay the bills. So
Right.
just going on what you're saying, it's very nice to have. Certainly, we all want to follow, but what's really
Yeah,
important to the bottom. Yeah.
definitely. So Phil, what's something that you help business owners solve?
Yeah. So when I talk to business owners, sometimes their funnel is a bit unclear, right? So maybe they
Mhm.
have an idea of their avatar and their demographic. I'm a huge fan of avatars, by the way.
Right.
Um, I think they paint a clear picture about who we're talking to and who we need to talk to. But I
Right.
really want to take them beyond maybe some prelim avatar and marketing messaging to really laying out a digital channel and then creating ways that we can test or evaluate the success of those digital channels for us to make better decisions. Because if we invest a lot of money in a channel, say it's a paid channel, or if
Mhm.
we have to understand that it's working, and if not, it's time to pivot.
Yeah, it makes sense. You don't want to keep throwing money at something that's not giving you a return on your investment, or ROI, as we mentioned earlier. I don't know. It
Absolutely.
maybe I'm just a numbers person, but it's good to know that what you're doing is actually being successful, or pivot, like you said, to another channel that might, right? And Phil, it seems, what's something that sets you apart from others in your industry?
Yeah, I loved this question, by the way, you had sent this. And it's like, I had to really take a step back. But going back to my own journey into this, I think my journey has taken a winding path, which makes me not necessarily just working in the digital space. I want to
Mhm.
be a people person. It's funny, I spend a lot of time in front of the computer, but, those leadership roles, those sales roles, those management roles really did sort of um, create a lot of glue that helped all these projects stick together. So
Yeah.
that's definitely something I would want to share. And sometimes I laugh because I thought when I was a kid, I always knew I wanted to work with computers, right? I've always liked computers, but I laugh sometimes when I'm with friends and we talk about work because I always say my computer job has a lot of people jobs in it. You
Right.
know, I think my perception was when I was a kid, I was going to work on a computer,
Hmm.
and that would be the end of it. There would
Right.
be not this, but I'm glad we live in a world where we can do this easily.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Cool. And so, Phil, how can somebody reach out to you if they would like more information about what you do?
Yeah, they can reach me at phil@topsaledigital.com, Phil with one L, or they can find me on my website, topsaledigital.com. I'm also on Facebook and LinkedIn, so it's pretty easy to
Okay,
find me if you need to.
cool. So you had mentioned before we started recording that there is a meaning behind the name of your company, Top Sale Digital. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, it's kind of a little bit of a joke, but when I lost my job at the agency after I started doing digital, this was about 3 years ago. I had a choice. I could either go back to a full-time job or really try to stick it out. And obviously, I chose to stick it out and ride it. But it does feel like a journey, and a boat symbolizes like adventure. And
Yeah.
I always think if I sink the boat, it's of my own choice. And I mean, I'm okay with rolling the dice. And um, the success has been so encouraging, and I'm very grateful. So thankfully, the boat hasn't sunk yet.
Yeah. Well, hopefully you won't. You can always fix it. So that's good. So Phil, I just wanted to quickly introduce myself for those listening that might not know who I am. My name's Lorena Tomasini, and I'm the owner of Mom Life and Health Insurance Agency, where I work together with my mom, helping other businesses and families with their financial protection needs, all done digitally. So Phil, for your random question, I wanted to ask you, what would you say is your best productivity tip?
um, let's see. For me, I was struggling out of the agency world because I knew what I needed to do, but it was
Mhm.
a sort of loose collection of activities. These past 2 years, I've really been focusing on processes. And on a podcast that I had heard, I believe it was the Authority Hacker podcast, they said, do not do anything twice. So my productivity tip is, if you're going to work on a process and you're really going to nail it down and either delegate it or hand it off to somebody, make sure you save that, because you're going to want that process again and again and again. And I've found my productivity increased when I didn't have to reinvent the wheel each time it was work time.
Yeah. So do it once and then copy and paste. Control C, Control V.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah, don't do
Yeah.
double effort.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's great advice. Phil, it's been great having you on the 12-Minute Talks podcast. Is there anything else you would like to add today?
That is all. Thank you so much for chatting with me. It was great
Yeah.
speaking with you.
Thank you. Have a good day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to this podcast and hope you will listen to the next one. I'm Lorena Tomasini, and you can contact me via email life@malmins.com. Make it a great day.